What happens when one of your favorite G1 Transformers characters goes from Richard Nixon to Peter Weller?
Dead or alive, you are coming.
Age of the Prime's Red Alert, a Voyager-class rendition of Transformers Armada character who, unlike his Generation 1 namesake, was the Autobot's stoic, straight-laced medic. Voiced either by Brian Dobson or Darren Norris, depending on whether you remember the animated video game more.
Dinkelberg.
Sporting a very different look to his namesake, this Red Alert is representative of a period where Hasbro were focused on retaining whatever trademarks they had rather than remain faithful to past interpretations. And I think that worked out alright. Well, more so for some than others.
What are you?
This Red is a chunky boy, but not devoid of flex. While certainly not as gimmick-laden as the original figure, this one still has swappable left-arm blasters and a big sawed-all gun made from a chunk of his backpack. Turning him into a truck isn't very complicated. Pretty much everything goes where you expect it to for the most part. The supposed Nissan Patrol SUV is a mostly faithful replica of the original, minus the copyright skirting Autobot medic insignia and a more complete back end. Still no gimmicks though, no lights, no sound, no minicons. But at least he has a port for one, unlike most of the other Armada remakes. With this, the Autobot starter cast is fairly well rounded out, assuming you don't count the Tangerine Tank. If we could just get some kind of minicon multi-pack out to partner with these figures, that'd be nice. Hasbro!
Red alert.
When it comes to Transformers name slaps, there are clearly more than a few that skirt the realm of highly questionable. Wheeljack is quite unfortunate, as multiple instances of this character tend to find themselves a party to characters that are practically nothing alike. The first oddball of the bunch, though, is the Armada incarnation, as he is a former Autobot turned vengeful Decepticon who looks like Sideswipe but can't be Sideswipe because of another character that's named Sideswipe. And in Japan, he was called Rampage to honor the Beast Wars character of the same name, who he also barely shares any similarity to. To compound things further, the original figure was used to make Shattered Glass Sideswipe, who joined the good guy Decepticons and had a color scheme based on Generation 2 Deluge.
Everybody got that?
Good, because I don't have a lot to say about the figure. Legacy Wheeljack is yet another retooling of the WFC Trilogy Sideswipe mold, of which I have touched upon twice already. The only real difference this time is that the retooling is more specifically to resemble the Armada character, which could be better if they had actually incorporated the gull wings from the Gigawatt mold.
What the hell is a gigawatt?
Worse yet, and despite the mold for his minicon partner existing on a prior release of Shattered Glass Sideswipe, Windshear is nowhere to be found. Does Hasbro just have it out against minicons or what? Regardless, this places yet another Armada character into the remake roster, but like with Vector Prime, it comes off as half-hearted since it's a retooling rather than a fully unique mold. Not that it needs to be more than a retooling after all, so much of the design was already based on Sideswipe to begin with, so a retool of the most recent Sideswipe mold is apt. I just feel like the designers could have gone the extra mile to give it a more accurate alternate mode instead of a Lamborghini with a Ferrari bonnet. I tried to film a review for these guys last year only to be told by my editing software, I ain't loading this shit! And gave the fuck up because who the hell cares now that SS86 Devi exists? I'll be straight with you, the answer is nobody but me. But I'm also gonna do this anyway because this is the last Christmas gift I got to enjoy before my mom was put in a jar. Also, I'm petty and don't want to buy another one of these things. There's so many versions of this man tower out there, just... how? Starting from the bottom, which is also the top, Bob here is frankly the weakest member of the D crew. You wouldn't think so given his role, but not only does he look like a walking piece of masonry, he was straight up busted out of the box. He becomes a lame crane with no fun to his name. Next is Bill, who gets points for looks over Bob so long as you look at him from any angle that hides this atrocity. Bill and Bob actually have the same enhanced elbow joints, but neither of them has swivels. The alt mode here also makes fans upset because of course it does. Durr is even more square-headed than Bob and wears purple pants because he's the one lame duck who actually knows that song exists. He becomes an excavator with a shovel that only functions well enough to pretend he's doing work when you know he's off in some corner somewhere listening to that goddamn song for the nth time. Red, who is mostly green and almost nothing but, decided Tomb Raider 1 was not only a favorite game of his, but a lifestyle choice.
No.
He has no intent in fully purple pants, but he and Durr both decide improved knees were a good idea. He becomes a treaded bulldozer with small horns and makes me doze. Lip doesn't want thoughtful discussion, just agree with his Soundwave face and respect his elbows.
Soundwave superior.
Okay.
As a front-end loader, you can load his front end and his back end. Just roll with it. Lastly, Robert, who has been carrying the team for so damn long, he became a walking bookshelf. I don't know why you're allowed to pose this guy as much as you can, but I'm not going to argue with it, mostly because I'm afraid he'll fall over on me if I do. When is a dump truck not a dump truck? When it's at the dump. Turning these guys into the Tower Master is a chore, but it's infinitely less of a hassle than doing taxes. Was it worth having 6 varying degrees of bare minimum articulated robot men to make this Titanic Roboman? It better have been! Size isn't the only thing this guy has going for him. He has style. Optional style. That said, if you're a size queen, I don't think you need to go the extra mile for Unite Warriors Deep. The highlight of this set, at least to me, is, and always has been, the ever so noticeably improved joints on each of the individual figures, and that's much less of a selling point now that SS86 has made its mark. So, unless you're in the same position as me who already has it and are petty and still dealing with mommy issues after 9 years, ignore this and me. Insert funny ending joke here. Right into my You know, for Transformers Animated, I don't completely mind how Legacy dodged the bullet of on-point accuracy.
You what?
Trying to recapture the art style of that show never really worked in plastic for my eyes. They tried, goddammit, but the results never really did the trick for me.
Move this man!
Before you gut me, I will say that despite the aesthetics not translating to plastic that well, I still find more than a couple of the toys to be quite brilliant as toys. But regardless, with AO2P having had a crack at Ratchet, I'm sitting pretty fine. But who the heck is Ratchet in this context? Well, Transformers Animated betrayed this guy as the old man medic on Optimus Prime's misfit crew of space bridge fixers. He had a pretty nasty history of fighting in the Great War, losing his super gadget to Lance Henriksen,
Now that was just sad.
erasing a schoolteacher's memory by mistake, teaching a giant robot how to kill,
It's bad to kill. Guns kill. And you don't have to be a gun.
and then riding around in its corpse for the rest of his career. As for the figure itself, we have a fairly extensive retool of the Earthrise hoist mold to represent the grumpy old Metabot, and despite the lack of adherence to bulbous tuning proportions, he looks quite good. The details don't line up perfectly, but there's enough here to be unmistakable as the beer-gutted old coot that's much too limber for his own good. As if that wasn't enough, he comes with a backpack load of accessories to make his role as a resident robo-repairman definitive. Though I have to ask, both for this and the original figure, what the hell is he carrying around a bottle opener for? Cybertronian VB?
Those were the good old days.
What's truly neat about all these things, though, is that they all have a place to store as you transform him. Something the old figure falls very short on. Of course, his alternate mode as a nondescript 4x4 ambulance nails every detail it needs to as well, though the gnarly undercarriage tends to be a problem if it isn't rolling on a perfectly flat and smooth surface, so keep it away from your mom. Regardless, I feel his shortcomings are negligible enough to say he's a great addition to the animated cast remake so far. All I need to do now is track down Prowl and wait for a good Bulkhead figure, because Legacy 1 both doesn't count and sucks ass! One of these two was ordained to die. But perhaps not the one you think. 2 more Age of the Primes Deluxes from this wave. Cliffjumper and Smokescreen are 2 notable individuals originating from Transformers Prime, aka the last truly good mainline Transformers series. Yeah, I said it!
Bite my shiny metal ass.
That said, it's difficult to gauge my impression of either of these characters for different reasons. Cliffjumper and Prime didn't get much time in the spotlight, only showing up in a small number of episodes that definitely showed his personality as a chatty and overconfident bot that was partnered with RC and other things. Smokescreen joined the main cast a little over halfway through the second season. A new Autobot recruit arrived on Earth amid a conflict over ancient relics. He was a young hothead with something to prove at first, causing more than a few issues with Team Prime, but eventually he settled into being a clever fighter who took advantage of the relics the Autobots kept on hand. And in a way, he kind of seems like he should have been more of a Hot Rod type of character than anything. In any case, these figures are, much like animated Ratchet, more of an echo of their forms from Prime than anything remotely accurate, yet still quite good in their own right for what they are. CJ is an interesting case, as he is a retooling of Legacy Chase that was originally part of a Target-exclusive multi-pack with several other out-of-place figures. As posing power goes, he's certainly got all the points, but he suffers from some peculiar restrictions in the shoulders and somewhat restricted ankle tilts. Smokescreen feels a bit off in the looks department, but not quite as drastically as early Legacy Prime Universe figures, and his flexing is only really weird because of a locking point in his knees. Alt mode's a go-go, and to be honest, it's a bit of a tough call, as I really like CJ's transformation process and how chunky his vehicle mode is, as well as the clever way of getting to it. Smokescreen is, well, he's a McLaren 12C, which translates well to cool car, but in a franchise rife with race car motifs, it's kind of just the same old noise. In the end, I think I'd pick Cliffjumper as my standout choice from this wave, even if he's a repack with a few too many articulation flaws and that. He just makes for a fun, dense little figure to handle. If only I had the cash for Sideways. Oh yeah, and it was originally Smokescreen who was going to bite the big one in TF Prime. Who'da thunk, huh?
Made you squirm.
If one looks back on the Kid Appeal character archetype in Transformers, you might conclude that the role must consistently be occupied by yellow car characters such as Hotshot and especially Bumblebee. There are a handful of exceptions though, and for a few the consistent theme actually made them blue. Legacy United dropped two particular specimens on us in the form of Sideburn and Cybertron Hotshot. I've already done a review on the original version of the latter before, so I have nothing to add apart from personal correction. I said this wasn't originally meant to be Hotshot, but that's only on the part of the Galaxy Force show. The toy was always meant to be Hotshot as far as anyone knows, so turning him blue remains a mystery.
Why are you blue?
There's a suggestion to the effect that it was meant to remain consistent with his mid-series recoloration from Energon, but one, he went back to being yellow at the start of Energon after being mostly red by the end of Armada, so why bother with that kind of consistency from Energon to Cybertron? And two, he was silver, not blue. Sideburn, to quickly summarize though, is the youngest of the three Autobot brothers from Robots in Disguise 2001, originally known as Speedbreaker in Japan, turned into a Dodge Viper, and had a perpetual hard-on for red sports cars. Kid Appeal character, by the way! Now, while I commend Cybertron Hotshot for being on the money for the most part, I do have some personal qualms. His face is sunk into his helmet, he's missing the blaster details inside his doors, the insignia on his shoulder is small and doesn't pop out, and a number of details on his vehicle mode are underplayed or omitted outright. Sideburn, by contrast, is weird. I dare not transform the original because I guarantee it will disintegrate if I try.
I lied.
So take my word for it when I say he's kinda, sorta, mostly, pretty much all there, but is also quite distinctly off in a lot of ways, especially in the vehicle mode. Like, I get he can't be a Dodge Viper, but why the crap does whatever he turns into have a distinct schnoz? Also, these are both deluxe class figures for the record.
Yikes.
I know there's going to be some actually comments about the size here. Please go fuck yourselves.
The big rubber dick.
But I'm willing to be fair and note the relative size of figures in any given class has fluctuated over the years, and frankly these two are actually closer to scale with their old figures, so I can't give them too much flack. For now. That said, I'm still going to say I think Hotshot is the better buy in this case by a long shot, as he's a lot more on point to the original in both modes and just has better visual appeal in my eyes. That said, I'm on board with Sideburn enough to ask Hasbro where the crap his bros are hiding.
I look like a buffoon.